You're listening to the official Efficiency Experts Podcast, and we just want to achieve.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble abode for the 9th episode of the Efficiency Experts Roundtable Podcast. My name is Gunnar. You may know me as Dragon Seance, and today we will be covering various events, leaks, and teasers. But first, let's meet our panelists.
Hello, I'm Alex, RSN Evo.
Hi, I'm Andrew, RSN Determined.
Hello, I'm Chris. I'm Rubik.
I am Jordan. I need to go by Wrathful.
G'day, I'm Shane, also known as Darkscape, and a big shout out to the fans.
Excellent. So the first thing we want to talk about today is the recent Skybox stream that ended with a little surprise. But first, the main content was dynamic Skyboxes are going to be added. I believe it was on the 15th around RuneScape. And they are going to show the moon around the Castle Draken, the sun pretty much everywhere, shining more brightly in places like Prifddinos and throughout the desert, and then doing crazy things in dungeons. So we're going to have a greater, not draw distance, but field of view when it comes to the sky in RuneScape, instead of just falling off into blackness or fog. So I definitely thought it was pretty impressive, and I'm pretty stoked for it. Anything that makes the game more immersive, definitely worthwhile.
Well, it looks absolutely stunning, doesn't it?
Yeah, no.
It looks lovely. It creates a bit of atmosphere, and I think that's what we need a bit more of. You walk around in Elf City, looks lovely. When you start seeing those skyboxes, it just you feel nice, don't you?
It's really impressive because the more and more RuneScape is evolving, they're really pushing Java behind, like with stuff like this. They want a more immersive experience. They want everything to be shiny, crisp, and beautiful, and you can see that they're doing that over time right now with all of the graphical updates that have been going on, for the last couple of years with Catherby, with Port Sarum, all of that. I do think that this may tie in with next gen too. It's just like the revitalization of the game.
Right.
Maybe
so they've made intermittent engine changes over, the last several years to push the Rune Tech 6 or whatever they're on, the language the game that is written in, the game engine itself, what they can do with extant technology. The reason the game isn't really browser based anymore. It's amazing what they've done with what they have, and they continue to improve. One thing that's interesting to think about is what kind of game we'll be playing in 5 years or in 10 years. Will RuneScape 5 VR be out in 2022? Or will the game continue to just get graphically more impressive? So just on my screen right now, I'm playing old school on one screen, and I'm playing NXT on the other screen, and it's night and day. And I think we're going to have whatever comes 2 iterations after NXT to compare and be like, wow, they did a great job. So it's just impressive.
Well, here's what I think, which is that NXT is great, and I really love it, and it changed the game completely. Although when it was released, I couldn't play RS for like a year because it didn't work. Or no, I had to stop playing RS when I got a new computer because I had a high DPI screen and the Java client didn't scale. So I couldn't play until NXT was released because everything was tiny and it made the game unplayable for me actually for quite some time. But the problem with NXT actually is that it's kind of unfinished. There are a few existing bugs, and there's some game content that was never updated to work with NXT, chief amongst them a couple minigames like Conquest and Mobilizing Armies, which I get, like, Jagex has a lot of technical debt, they have a lot of legacy code that no one really knows how to maintain, But
Those are like unplayable though.
they're totally unplayable on NXT, which is extremely frustrating. And I would actually prefer if they would devote some resources to resolving existing issues rather than making these upgrades, which are nice. Like, I think it will make it a bit more immersive, but it's better to deal with existing issues, in my opinion, and patching them than to make these upgrades. RuneScape is never going to be a dominant game graphically. It always has survived on the strength of its content.
Not with
Yeah.
that attitude.
No, he's right though. It's definitely more gameplay focused. So as long as they remain innovative and unique, which is one of the problems a lot of people have with EOC, is that it does feel like a lot of other MMOs, but the skilling aspect is like unlike anything else, and the quest aspect of RuneScape is like on any other game. So as long as they stick to that, I think they'll be fine. You're gonna say something, Eva?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that they mention that they're gonna phase out Java, and that really concerns me because there's just so many things that you can only do on Java, and it's been like that for a long time, just like what Andrew said.
Also,
Like what?
with
Well, like
Double XP weekend, right? I've been, for the past couple Double XP weekends, I've been forced to switch to the Java client because of the click boxes on NXT. You literally can't click the banker sometimes if you're at a crowded banker like we do in our
Right.
Citadel. Shout out, if you'd like to join us on Double XP weekend, the Efficiency Experts Citadel will be open with all portables.
Please don't come. It's full enough.
It will be chaotic, yeah.
But there will be full pulse cores and staff slams, Valentine's Day 2% XP boosts, and all that jazz going on 100% of the time. Literally the entire 72 hours will have nonstop everything. So stop on by, and if you like, maybe join the clan.
But you might have
Maybe
to play.
use your own staffs.
You might have to play in Java, and that's one of the problems Jagex needs to address with NXT before moving on to this other stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they currently are kind of doing that with the most recent update where they added like all these other improvements to like the like this file size and whatnot.
Right, the new
They
version of
fixed-
NXT.
Yeah, they fixed a bunch of the issues, but they're still not quite there yet. And when they actually do get there, NXT is going to be able to produce so many different things that Java can't do. That is also going to be pretty.
Yeah,
amazing when
I
it gets
do
to that
love
point.
NXT overall, and just the draw distance alone made it incredible. But before
Oh,
this other
I
stuff
do
is-
think that draw distance is also a problem, though. Like, to be honest, because
'cause you can't click.
the world is scaled so oddly that like it worked for 07, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel right. It feels like there needs to be a scaling expansion of some sorts in RuneScape, and if they did that, I would literally wet my pants.
Have you ever taken a trip down the Wikipedia lane that is scale theory in RuneScape?
No.
I have not, but I
Okay.
would love the whole world scaled up bigger.
Well, if you take some time to do it, they look at the lore in like canonical RuneScape texts, like
It's from-
Betrayal at Falador and stuff like that, to see how they explain where a bustling city like Varrock has 32 inhabitants, and they
Right.
explain it as the game is just a representation of the world of Gielinorean. So like the distance between Varrock and Falador is actually like 100 miles. And yeah, it's
That's
a
an
pretty
interesting
fascinating
philosophical
Wikipedia
perspective.
article. Yeah, it's
That's on
there is a
actual
long
Wikipedia
thing.
or the RS Wiki.
What a
RS
load of bullshit.
We'll link it in the description.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I just posted it in there. Anyway,
I see it.
yeah, and there's a lot of evidence for it in the game, especially with some of the breaking of the fourth wall that you see with the guy in Varrock Bar saying that RuneScape is a computer game. So I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was added in like 2005.
So
What we
so
think is
basically,
Gielinorean is actually a game called RuneScape, and you're in it.
So,
That's what he
so
said.
this is it's a representation of a giant medieval world, and we're playing a video game of that medieval world.
Right. Exactly.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
and
We're
who
in the
knows if it's
Matrix.
medieval? It's the Matrix basically.
Because it's
Um,
self-aware in the fact that there is promotions and in-game things that say, like, you know, Chronicle being advertised, or
Right.
stuff like
That's true. It does reference things outside of Gielinorean. So
and it references itself as RuneScape a lot, when like it wouldn't be called RuneScape, it would just be
right.
called Gielinorean.
So there's two different names for it. Is RuneScape
Yeah.
just the contents of the story, and Gielinorean is the world? That's how I've always viewed it.
Correct.
And
Right.
that
And-
kind of supports that scale theory.
Yeah. No.
I'm too
Conspiracy
sober for this
theories.
conversation.
Well, I'm not sober for this conversation, so it's fantastic.
Anyway, so we were watching. I was looking through this stream, and the Skyboxes were very impressive. We'll put a gallery in the description. However, the main story to come out of it was at the very end of the video. There was an image briefly shown on the screen, and then the
Only on
stream.
YouTube.
Oh, well, no, the image was shown on both, and then it was instantly cut off on Twitch. However, the proctors of the stream forgot to turn it off on YouTube, so it continued to run, where we listened to the mods involved commiserating over the accidental leak, quote unquote, of the image. And so if you didn't see the image, basically it's a stylized icon of a bird's head, very technical in nature, with the next gen text. So there was nothing more has been mentioned about this. The only time we've heard next gen with regards to RuneScape was talking about NXT like 3 years ago. We hear next gen talking about next gen systems, whatever the current line of consoles is. But what do you guys think it could be? I have a couple ideas, but really no idea.
I think it could be anything from, and there have been a lot of theories we've heard tossed out, but I think it could be anything from a new scripting language that Jagex is using internally. It could be a new game engine, just basically a new element in their technology stack, or it could be a new product for Jagex, either something related to RuneScape or something entirely
Or a
unrelated.
new IP.
Yeah.
Right.
Old
We
school
know-
too.
We know for sure that in 2017, or at least that was the original plan that they pitched at some Chinese place, where they're going to release RuneScape RPG Battler. So maybe this could be it.
And
Is that just a working name, or RuneScape RPG Battler? Have we been given any more context for that title?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so
Were
it
you
could
thinking
be.
like mobile?
Yeah, it could be a mobile port, and everybody's
too.
wanted to do ports on their phone forever.
right, but
if you
that's a
could-
companion app issue, not so much.
Right. But that's here. So I just thought about something that could be possible. So the icon, one of the things we talked about was the fact that it has this stylized bird that really has nothing to do with RuneScape.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like clues in this. First of all, I think a lot of players are convinced that this is a legitimate leak, a significant leak, based upon the reactions. So
Well,
if
who
we-
leaked it?
It was
So-
Mod
The-
Shauny was doing the stream along with, who was the other J-Mod?
Just
I'm not
briefly.
sure. I think it was Kieran, but what happened
yeah.
was it was apparently hotkeyed to this image,
Ah.
and the mod was stopping the stream, but instead briefly showed this imagery.
Right.
So
We're-
what?
We're of the opinion they should be fired. Yeah.
No,
No.
I do
Absolutely
not
not.
believe so.
Oh, okay.
absolutely not. It was a legitimate, honest mistake.
It was not
and,
Mod Kieran.
Yeah, no, I
And
have been told.
you know, I feel bad for him, because you can honestly hear in the sound and the reaction in his voice that he's in panic. So, I honestly, Shauny is awesome. great, fantastic community guy.
Right.
I'm not
I-
concerned about it.
Yeah,
I don't think people are saying
no
it's
one-
fake,
with it
but
at all.
He's
Absolutely
you
no
know,
one
Shauny
cares
is
at all
immensely
about those.
popular, and I don't think he has any reason to be concerned. And actually, for the Redditors out there, if you recall, I think last summer or the summer before, Reddit had an issue where they let go of their most popular employee and their most community-focused employee, Victoria, who was the mod of the AMA subreddit, and there was an immense community backlash. And I think Jagex is smart enough to not want to induce that by getting rid of Shauny, who is extremely well-loved.
So again, I think all of us are on the same page about this. Let's focus on the main issue with which is what is next gen. And again, we have this stylized image that is more like a bird, which to me makes me think mobility. And I was just thinking about this, like on the go, like it could just be the icon for the app. And I think that it could be something related tangentially to RuneScape, but like you earn stuff in RuneScape for doing it, but it's also standalone content.
I think that's tenuous at best.
Yeah,
I don't.
I mean,
I think
you
if
know,
it's related at all, it would have like an RS
Yeah,
something.
there's no-
but-
Really? Because that
think-
worked so well for Chronicle.
I mean,
nor did it work well for Idle Adventures.
and
but,
what
you
does
know,
a bird have to do with RS? There's no connection. I
No,
think
no,
it's,
that's what I'm saying.
likely
That's
new-
what I'm saying.
I think
is that
this
I
is
think
they
it's
know
new
what
IP. I think it's new IP. But
It
I
could
mean,
be.
or platform.
someone could
like
come
a
back to this.
Transformers
Or
online.
it may not
kinda
be
thing.
a game. It may just be
Yeah.
next gen of anything. You can.
Why would you
Right.
call a new game next gen? Surely it has to be something you already have to be next gen.
Right. So it is a
Fun or-
comparison. It is a comparison. So
Oh, you know what? I think we'll learn a lot more about it at RuneFest.
Yeah,
to
we
be
definitely
honest.
we
Yeah.
definitely that will be the big announcement at RuneFest. I think that goes without saying. So
What if it was Fun Orb?
it could be the new Fun Orb. To be honest, Fun Orb was immensely popular at one point.
If it's significant at all. I mean, the reaction seems to indicate it was significant, but do we even assume this is a new product as opposed to just an image generated for some other purpose or for some other?
I think it's used for something about improving RuneScape.
Yeah, possibly.
We can speculate here all day and
It's
night.
fun.
Yeah,
But-
it is fun to speculate. We don't know anything. All we know is that this image was shown. It may or may not have been on purpose.
And the RS
that's it.
hype train has picked it up
Yeah.
and run with it.
yeah, is picking up steam.
And
Yeah.
we are complicit in that, of course.
Yeah, no breaks. So
Forget
the
Hazelmere's all about next gen.
there are days, I'm not gonna lie, over the past week or so where I have forgotten Hazelmere's signet exists.
Oh yeah.
Like I
no
never
doubt.
thought, within the first couple weeks, I was like, my God, this is so exciting. Somebody's gonna get it. It's gonna broadcast. We're
It's
all
totally
gonna be
fallen off the radar, as have some other
Yeah.
things lately. So, like the
Right.
Golden Path.
right. Well, Golden Path had some traction and some movement yesterday, actually, with the introduction of the second character, Batal. But we'll get back to that. Speaking of Hazelmere's, it's been 7 weeks. Do we think they're going to change the drop rate?
Yes, but it seems like they were trying to wait until someone got it. I think at some point that becomes untenable, and I'm not sure where that line is, or if there's not a hard threshold. But if we're talking like 6 months after release and no one has it, they have to make a change, in my opinion.
Well, okay, so
No, they don't, but
They
they don't
should.
have to make a change ever, but they should. Otherwise, it's dead content. The issue that I
In my
see
view,
is
it's
that they
already dead
probably
content.
were waiting for one.
You have
It basically there's
Because
none in the game
there's
after
gonna
7
be-
weeks. Yeah.
right after 7 weeks. So let's assume one comes into the game like this week, and there's one dropped every 2 months thereafter. That is not a sufficient frequency for it to even play any role
Be
in the
worth the
economy.
development time.
Or be it's.
So it would be a meme though. It would be a
It
10
are-
billion GP
I mean,
meme.
it is a meme. It'd
Yeah.
be at that rate, it'd be a 30-40 billion GP meme.
Right. So what I'm thinking is you're right. They were probably waiting for one to drop with the current rate, which let's just say it's 1 in 10 million. which you could still expect one to come into the game bi-weekly, right? However, what Timbo said was
No one
he
wears
had
the
seen
ring.
failed rolls for people not wearing the ring. So maybe there were 50 million kills. There would have been 3 ring drops, but all three people who would have rolled that weren't wearing the ring. So they got
Maybe.
a Blairberry,
But
or they got, whatever.
Even Luck of the Dwarves itself is a somewhat high barrier to entry. I mean, we're talking over 40 mil for that ring, which
Mhm.
I'd wager that most players aren't going to invest in that for a moonshot chance at a ring that no one is even
Right.
convinced it actually exists yet.
At the cost of saving adrenaline, at the cost of stats,
DPS, yeah.
like
Yeah.
honestly,
I personally don't wear it. I was slaying yesterday without it. Like,
I won't be using it for Slayer. I'll be using the potion probably, if I can remember. But the issue with this is, what kind of precedent does that set for future updates? Is it okay to release something without having any clear idea as to, its usage? I think Timbo made some assumptions that may or may not have been accurate. And how does that bode for future content?
And I also think that Jagex has a lot of balls in the air right now in terms of unresolved issues with recent updates, but then also all this hype for upcoming updates. I cannot wait for the Menaphos release because it's going to feel very cathartic in terms of like we won't be barraged
Right,
with
'cause
all
it's
this
not-
stuff anymore.
And it's also not a batch.
That too.
So Menaphos is coming out all at once, but you're right.
I'm
There's so
excited
many.
for it in the fact that it's a patch.
Right, it's
Like,
comprehensive.
It's an expansion.
I guess I'm just
Yeah.
feeling
It's
the
not-
hype fatigue a bit after these teasers.
Well, what you're saying is totally true in that they have a lot of balls in the air. There's numerous things that currently are in batch 1 of 2. So this coming week, I think, we're going to be getting the achievement system batch 2. There's
Right, another recent update that feels mostly forgotten right now, but won't after that.
right, exactly. So, and the
Or
Slayer
feels
dungeon.
unfinished.
This Slayer dungeon, which is technically in Sophonem, we got a teaser to that with the Hydrix, Onyx, and Dragonstone dragons or whatever. And so we are seeing these updates come out, and we're getting half of what we think is a complete update. And that's why I think a lot of us are saying Menaphos is the next big thing, because there is no Menaphos 1, Menaphos 2. It's not invention. We won't be waiting for the completion for 2 years, hopefully. So we'll see. Anyway, so that was probably the most interesting news. However, there's a lot of stuff going on in the game right now. Jordan, do you want to take us through the ongoing charity event?
Yeah, of course. So currently, right now, we have a event that is representing the mental illness awareness week we've got going on currently. It is called Gielinorean Giving, and so right now, when you give to the charity, you can do it via donation with an in-game link, or by purchasing RuneCoin packages with the current copy paste event that is basically the same thing that Agents of Fury was and the Sprites Be Gone that we've had. I think we've had one once a month, once every month and a half now for the last
Yep.
Yes, this is the 5th or
6
6th.
months. Right.
It's probably
So
the
it's
fifth.
the same copy and pasted model. I think they really like it, but they have RuneCoin packages that allows you to get extenders. So like you earn an extra 1,000 every day for 1 day, 5 days. You can buy 500 tokens, 1,000 tokens, 5,000 tokens, all with RuneCoins. And then there's also this cape that matches the outfit that they're giving you, which, mind you, looks really nice. that everything that you buy there with Rune Coins is all donated and shared equally between the 3 charities, CPSL Mind, the Princess Trust, and YMCA right here, which are all supporting of mental health. So I think it's a great way for Jagex to bring light to an issue that sometimes gets forgotten. People don't realize that there is suffering. As we can see, there was a lot of posts on Reddit this week of people coming out and saying and bringing up their stories about mental illness, and overall, pretty proud of Jagex for this one. So, good on him.
Yeah, you got to give him some credit for bringing it up. And sometimes it's hard to talk about, and there isn't enough attention given by game developers usually. So give Jagex some credit there. And additionally, the idea is to bring awareness to the issue. And as you said, Reddit has had a lot of posts. The RSOF has had posts. A company that has traditionally been very anti-personal info is encouraging people to be more open about their struggles. And RuneScape has always been, for myself and for a lot of people, a means of escapism and, a way to forget problems going on elsewhere in your life. And that's not lost on Jagex, I don't think. And this event really, for me, it shows that they have some level of awareness of that. And I've enjoyed it. As you said, the armor looks great. It is a reskin event, but it's for a good cause. I don't think anybody's going to complain about, that. So all in all, I'm for it.
It seems like it's pretty successful. I liked the Reddit post I saw by an old school player who encouraged all the other old school players who used the Twitch Prime promo to go spend their rune coins in order to get it
on the cape,
right, to increase donations to the charities. And we've talked about it a bit before, but I like that this seems to be becoming Jagex's kind of signature issue. Some businesses kind of adopt 1 or 2 issues that are just important to them or their employees or their customers, and it seems like Jagex has kind of done this with mental illness, and I think it's a good fit, and it's good to see them being active on this front, as opposed to
certainly, yeah, it definitely is a good fit, and we've seen it during this event. And I think if you asked anybody before the event, what % of RuneScapers do you think have issues with, either social anxiety or depression? The answer would have been a fair few. And I don't think that's far off base. Not that, that's disparaging towards RuneScape players, quite the opposite. I think it's one of the things we have in common that leads us to what some may consider obsessive behavior. But
I just think it's a symbiotic relationship that the game provides, like you said, an outlet or escape for people suffering from mental issues, and that Jagex recognizes it and then supports them in return.
Right. It's pretty great stuff. So we've had events. This is the most recent event to promote some social awareness for an issue. We've had things in the past for wildlife, etc. But one thing that was not necessarily for social awareness of any issue what is the new treasure hunter event. Andrew, do you want to run us through this buried treasure?
Have you got something to share, Shane? I don't want to.
It was just an amazing transition. I don't know how he did it.
He was a fan of the segue.
I see.
I just real quick though before we moved on from the the charity event and the mental health thing, I wanted to share something just because this is real and people are out there who suffer. So I personally suffer from bipolar depression and have had ongoing struggles with that for the last over 10 years or so. it is not easy, and there's a lot of things that you have to overcome. I will be completely honest here. Uh, you go through the phases of mania, and you don't have control of your life, and it's not fun. And letting people know that this is real and people are out there that have these problems is a really good thing. So,
Yeah.
Brave of you to say, mate.
it
Yeah,
is. Well, I
definitely.
mean, I'm not shy about it. There's some people who will hide their illness. I am proactive in handling uh, my stuff. I take my medication and I handle what needs to be done because I want to be better. And, you know, uh, I'm always willing to talk with people who have similar issues or anything. So if you want to talk to someone who has dealt with and been through some of the worst stuff life can throw at you, feel free to PM me on my main, which is Wrathful, or my Iron Man, which is Anger.
Right. And if you have somebody whom you have rapport with already, it's important just to talk to anybody about these things. And the RuneScape is very good for making friends with people on a whim. So if you have anybody on your friends list, you're not alone. You can talk to them about issues. Most people are very receptive to hearing those things, even though it might be tough to share initially. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to seek help if you so require. So to introduce a little brevity, Anders, buried treasure, go.
Much better the second time around on that transition.
Right.
All right, so the non-charity promo, which we have this week, is called Buried Treasure. The regular treasure hunter has been replaced with a 6x6 treasure map, which contains both normal treasure hunter rewards as well as 6 special chests. And there are 4 types of special chests: a Protean chest, experience, skilling, and an antique chest. And you can pretty much tell from their names. The Protean gives various types of Proteans, including the cogs. The experience one gives reward items, stars, space dust, etc., lava lanterns from recent experience-based promos. The skilling one gives portables, springs, silverhawk feathers, notepaper, and things of that nature. And the antique one is actually kind of the cool one because it gives the 2 outfits, the Queen's Guard and I forgot the name of the other one.
Dragon Ceremonial.
Dragon Ceremonial, which are only available for little limited times and only on Treasure Hunter. I think they're typically only available in the summer. So
what was that, like 2012 or something, that those were available?
Yeah,
it was a long time ago.
I don't think they were re-released until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have them. It's just old.
So it's a nice re-release if you didn't have those and you wanted to get them. I always enjoy re-releases because I miss most promos, and I like at least have the opportunity to get things again. And if you already have all of the outfit pieces, then it'll get replaced with some rare item tokens so you don't lose out. So this is pretty good, but the highlight of this promo is actually there are 2 rare rewards you can get from opening any of the various chests, and that is, first, there's a treasure rest emote, and you can get that token, which has been going for like roughly 5 mil, and it's a pretty nice animation. I like it. It's a good addition to the rest emotes. But then also you can get a treasure map from it. And the treasure map is also tradable, and it allows you to dig in the Lumbridge Combat Academy and get a rusty chest, which basically you bring the rusty chest to the Wizard's Tower and you give it to Wizard Rinse It, and then he says he needs some time to look at it and help you unlock it. And then as of now, that's all we know. It just, the trail ends there. But I like that. It adds a bit of mystery, and people had quite a bit of fun with the rusty chest, guessing what it might mean. What do you guys think?
So wait, you said it was north of the Combat Academy. I believe it's north of the Combat Training Camp near
yes.
Artie.
Thank you.
So it's right to the west of the bank, near the south of Backstorian Falls. So I think it's really weird how we have all these separate Easter eggs, but no clear resolution regarding them.
Right?
Or no real like allure for why players should want the rusty,
This was
chest.
originally speculated to be part of Moddig's trading sequence, which it isn't, or it doesn't seem to be.
Right,
And-
it isn't. Yep.
And it's not, those aren't the only ones, right? There's plenty of other stuff out there. I mean, we talked about Hazelmere's earlier. There's plenty of these kind of unresolved item hunts.
It's not Golden Path Challenge either, which is the sundial in the desert that is giving us the
lore
names
clues.
of random Instagram and Reddit accounts. So it's there's a lot of Easter eggs right now. I'd like to see some of them closed out.
Yeah. Well, this one's obviously new, and I think that this one probably will get closed out in the near future because it's a promo thing. So you don't really leave that open-ended forever. But
yeah,
it's a good promo, I think. I don't mind it at all. I actually, obviously, they couldn't do the Agents of Fire style, token-based promo because they're already doing that with the charity event. And I like to see a different one. This one feels refreshing. And it's also not all that different from the Chinchompa hunt in the Spring Fair, which, is another kind of nice piece that I like. At least I like that you got a, daily free open, which of course you get daily keys.
No, I really like the visual aspect of it. It feels like one is hunting for treasure. And sometimes it's a little very convoluted.
It's very related and topical, like compared to most of the promos. Some of them are kind of weird.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's how they get you though, because you gotta get the treasure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like AR stuff. I like augmented reality stuff, like the Golden Path Challenge. But I just things like the like clue searches and like puzzles to be solved. I don't know if when you guys were younger, maybe middle school, there's a lot of like word puzzles and little problems that sometimes I would get assigned in school, and it would be like a box, and it would say sunny going upwards on the side of it, and it would be like sunny side up. No, well, sort of. So, but it's like word puzzles and
cryptics.
Cryptics. But like I think RuneScape could incorporate more puzzles. They've obviously been very successful in terms of quests and clue scrolls. And if there were some rewards for solving these, instead of just going to Tippet and figuring them out, whether they're meant to be dynamic or just new, which we might see with the clue rework, I think that'd be great.
I should also mention that when you complete a map in Buried Treasure, it advances you to the next one immediately. So I like the gamification of it in that way.
I was gonna bring up I don't know how many of you remember, but a few years ago Jagex did something called the Cryptic Clue Fest. And they did this about every single year, where they released a clue or something every single day for a week, and you'd go in game and interact with some NPC, giving them a sequence of items to progress through it, and then at the end of it you get some sort of special reward of some sort.
Right, which is pretty great, and has one of the better looking outfits in RuneScape history that came from it.
I mean, I don't would you blend that with MTX in some way?
Yeah, I definitely think there's room for promotion using bonds. However, I just think in terms of general gameplay, it's good because it doesn't require as much development time as other things, and it could be ongoing. So there could be one thing every week. You could do something every Friday, or you could release it every Monday with clues coming out on social media throughout the week. to help people solve it.
Mhm.
You know, make it as complex as you want. But
Because I think one of the things we underappreciate is that the MTX team has one of the toughest jobs at Jagex, which is to be creative, because they have to release promos constantly, and they're responsible for generating revenue that supports all the other JMod's development efforts. So they're really challenged to be creative and to come up with MTX promos that don't feel overdone, that don't feel boring, and that, generate new revenue and new interest. And I think that this is just a well done one. It's pretty simple, and props to them. I didn't see any negative feedback about it.
Speaking of the MTX team, though, we haven't had a Solomon's outfit in like 3 months or more.
oh, I thought it was like November of last year.
Oh yeah, maybe it is November. It's been a
Yeah.
long time.
Maybe they weren't
Do we-
selling well.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe rune coins were down and keys were up. So
And keys give XP, right?
right. I think they're gonna do whatever is hot. So if they decide that rune coins are, people will still buy rune coins for keepsake keys, and they want to focus on treasure hunter, and that's going to be more profitable. Maybe they started out that way and it worked really well. What incentive do they have to make more rune coin outfits? They can just release outfits through these events, which seem to be fairly easy to introduce and have high participation rates. So yeah. Anyway, so we're a fan of this. I actually would take it one step further. I like the design of this to the extent that I would rather see such a system where you click through and actually have more of a feel that you're hunting for treasure instead of just opening chest after chest after chest after chest, and replace treasure hunter with something less overtly microtransaction. So the idea, the idea of like the loot boxes is kind of, and you know what I mean?
I think that the way that this map is set up, if they change the interface up a little bit though, and you just let me pick like 3 spots on this map, and over time, like maybe it takes me 2 weeks to fill up a map or something, and by the time I'm done, I get like some sort of something for finishing a map, right? Just do something to change it up, to make it feel like I'm actually, in the desert looking for some great treasure, or, next map is I'm, in the deep in the wilderness, and the next map is I'm in the jungle, and you're just hunting for treasure through these maps.
I mean, it's
some bullshit like that.
It's actually
I don't know.
interesting. I don't know, but it's interesting that these promos are all short-lived, so you can get that sense of progression in the short term, but only by doing MTX. But I think what might make players enjoy or have a more positive view of Treasure Hunter is if they did, Jordan, I think that's a good idea. You take something like this, right? You give us the maps, and then you can progress through them quickly, of course. If you buy keys, you can always buy keys. But leave the maps up, make this a long-term part of Treasure Hunter, and then if a player doesn't buy keys, they can still progress through the maps using their daily keys. It just takes much longer. But they don't.
I think
lose
that's
out.
a fantastic idea. I think that is a
can
phenomenal idea.
You get 2 keys a day, and there are 36 squares, so it would take you 18 days to complete a map. Whereas if you buy keys, of course, you can do it immediately. But you still get that long-term feeling of satisfaction and payoff at the end by completing it. And obviously,
Jagex, if you're listening, you're welcome. I give you full permission to implement this. You can totally take this and make it, but
feels just exactly the same for me. There's no difference
it's the same
whatsoever.
thing,
You just
though.
click,
But
just
that's the
click on
point.
XP.
But there's no difference to you between an event that lasts 5 days and something that has continuity over a year? I think that's the big difference.
RS players are trained to, enjoy progressing in something over a very long period of time, and that's what Treasure Hunter kind of should be like. It should almost be like a skill.
So let's just say, in this fantasy idea, it's Prismania. You've got these same little maps. You've just got treasure chest buried with prismatic lamps. You don't even need to change anything. There you go.
Right. So definitely every event could contribute, and I think people would be more likely to buy keys on events, and I think they'd definitely be more likely to buy keys off event, especially if it had some influence in terms of, say, cosmetics, or you know what I mean? Like you make a set over time, complete 10 maps over time, which would take 5 months just to get the gloves in a set, and then you go on to the boots, you go on to the helm, legs, chest. Who cares how many it takes? If you're working towards it for free, what does it matter? You know what I mean?
So
So
the rare idea where players want to see more MTX, let us know.
yeah,
Let us know
yeah,
if we're way off base in the comments.
yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't be buying many more keys, but if I had extra money towards,
Yeah.
bonds, I might dump some, especially if the cosmetic was super spicy.
Oh man, just open up a line of credit and just buy all the keys. You'll be fine.
Exactly. Just mortgage your house. It will
Yeah.
be fine. Nobody's ever, lost their life savings to video games, whatever. Anyway,
And speaking of mortgaging houses, Menaphos.
you're right,
Which has
exactly.
absolutely nothing to do with mortgaging houses,
Right.
but we're going to go with it. So Menaphos is released June 5th. We've got a little over 3 weeks until it is
D-Day.
coming out. Yeah,
Yep.
pretty exciting stuff. I'm actually I'm hyped. I'm excited. I'm ready.
That sounds like a
I'm
question.
sick of it already.
Hey,
Really? You
Yeah,
are?
me too.
Yeah.
You guys feel like the lead up is much too long?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that it?
Maybe, yeah, a little bit.
A long
But,
time, isn't it?
So we got some new info today. Well, in the stream that was like 3 days ago, but we've got a picture of the location of the Menaphos lodestone. The Grand Exchange is going to be a little bit further away from the GE than the Prif lodestone intentionally. There is going to be banks, general stores, water sources, altars, summoning obelisks. Some may have to be unlocked through quests. In the city, there is new ways of them delivering quests and stories. It's probably going to be something like how they've been doing the introduction of holiday quests. You've got like chapters. I would imagine it's going to be something like that.
Unlocked through reputation.
Yes. Unlocked through reputation, you are correct. And some of them will be voice acted, from what has been told. They're also randomly generated and will provide XP rewards when you complete them. They will not be dailies. Yeah. We've also got some more overworld skilling locations that have been added into Menaphos. There is stall and pickpocketing thieving coming in at level 47 thieving. There is the 3 fish that were mentioned earlier at 52, 60, and 72. There is a new low-level mining alternative, which is fantastic because that's like the most horrible thing in the whole world. They're giving you
Warbands.
concentrated
Warbands.
sandstone. Well, you know what?
Warbands, lava
Not for the
geyser.
casuals, but
Or for the Iron
concentrated
Men, right?
sandstone.
Yeah.
Sure, if you're a low level one, yeah. Then they're also giving you Hunter, that is going to be in Sophonim. That'll be for level 73. And then the big announcement that they made for the overworld skilling was the Arcadia tree. They said that it was going to be the new best woodcutting method with crystallize, overtaking teaks. He specifically said best in slot wood. So
So
Yeah, that
you
was
know.
a joke.
Mm.
But yeah.
I know.
So yeah, it probably works exactly the same as Teaks, just slightly more XP.
I think
That would be
Yeah,
my
which
guess.
is cool.
I think a big win from this is you said, that shifting tombs won't be a daily, and it doesn't
Not
sound
shifting tunes. The Well,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, none of it's a
It
daily.
sounds like
none of the quests.
it sounds like
yeah.
none of the Menaphos content is going to be a new daily. And on top of that, like if this woodcutting method is actually good enough, it could even potentially usurp use as a daily and even knock one off of the list because Jagex has said they're trying to mitigate the effects of dailyscape. Do you think it could
Oh,
possibly be that
It'd
It'd
far?
have
have
to
to
be
be
like
crazy.
a
It-
mil XP an hour.
It
It
would have to be
like over
over
500k.
It
and
would
that
have to
be
be over
just silly.
500k. Yeah.
Over
Well,
500k
that
is
might not
no,
be
that's
true.
entirely
have to-
possible.
Right, that's entirely possible.
I
but
saw a
we're
number for
looking at this-
crystallized teaks as 540k, but I haven't done
So-
it. Is that
Only
right?
if you have bonus XP.
That's with
Only
bonus,
that's
sure.
with bonus. That's with bonus. Yeah. So what I'm thinking, and forgive me if I'm way off base, but I think we're kind of putting us into we're kind of in an echo chamber with this because we're talking to people who only do things that are the best XP rates without taking into account effort really or time locks or bottlenecks for
Well,
their accounts. Like we're
also
we'll
not
only
taking
do
into
it
account level requirements. Like
Right,
this may be
right.
great for mid levels and then not great at high.
Right.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, like we're looking at this and saying if it's not better than use, we're not going to do it. I don't think that's the case. Like for most people, I think if it's fairly AFKable,
Yeah, it's if
which
AFK enough.
crystallize is, and if it's 400k an hour without bonus, hell, if it's 330, probably most people aren't going to bother with waiting 4 years to get it done through use.
Crystallize,
Right, and
crystallize
it's
only lasts
you know,
30 seconds, so it's not like
Yeah.
Ivy AFK tier.
Right. It's not super
There's-
AFK.
There's also not a lot of people that have the capability of doing divine locations every day. I live in California, so I'm at work still when all reset goes on. So I miss, all of that all the time. This is a fantastic alternative for someone like me if it's good XP.
If anyone is
So,
legitimately wondering, U's are typically held in World 48 Birth Orb at reset, but then also in World 123 at like 16.
Which I'm also at work.
Yeah,
for.
no, not saying
Six-
everyone
six-
can.
It's like 1630.
It's like
right?
1610. It moves all the
1610.
time, but it's roughly
okay.
1610 right now. Game time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I also thought one of the really cool things that they mentioned towards the end there is they said that we're getting the camouflage outfit finally
Mhm.
when you unlock it via
Yeah,
invention.
Yes.
So I'm
They did.
super excited about that. They said it should take 45 to 70 hours doing regular thieving, but they said doing shifting tombs, you have a higher chance of earning the fragments. I wonder if that means I have to be attuning to thieving in some way, or if I get
Instead of
this just
con.
training any skill like construction, which I'm going to be putting it on.
Right. You know what I like about? I didn't expect another elite skilling outfit to come out, in game,
So
earnable
quickly.
in game so quickly, because it seems like the last one was what was it? It wasn't RC.
What were
it
we
was-
going on, like a 16-month cycle? I think
It was
is
a
what
shark
it
one.
was.
It was the shark one, which was released the same time as the new woodcutting outfit. So they released an old one in game, along with a new one through Treasure Hunter, which I thought was the model they would use going forward, because that always maintains the same number that you can only earn through spinning. But
Another
now
thing,
we're getting a free one. It feels like.
another thing to note is that they said they were going to release them in order, but then the next one should be the divination elite skilling
Yeah,
outfit.
the
I
div one's
believe.
pretty
Right.
old, and instead we're getting thieving.
Well, unless Vic comes out within the next.
Well, they did tease that on the forums last
You think
week.
you could
Someone
buy
said
elite skilling
soon.
outfits from Vic instead of with fragments through invention like the others?
Well, so what I'm thinking is that they might use that as like a temporary thing, like just because the thieving fits more with the lore of Menaphos, and just give people access to it because they anticipate having access to it.
I
just
think
to
they'll
quell
probably just go
any
out of
potential
order
negatives.
rather than release two
Yeah,
in like a month.
That's possible too. That's possible too.
So how many will be not earnable through gameplay after this? It'll just be div and DG and woodcutting? 3?
Yeah,
Yep.
correct.
Yep. So that's
That's
good.
not so bad.
The more that are available in game, the better.
Also, they did make sure to mention that all skilling pets will be attainable through all content. There is no fairy rings in the city, and they are thinking about adding potential clue scroll scans and other locations. And you can even get pets in shifting tombs. Speaking of shifting tombs, Rubik, do you want to talk about the new information that we got the other day?
Sure. So, Shifting Tombs is a piece of content coming out with Menaphos. It is a high risk versus high reward activity, and it features solo or group excursions where for 5 minutes you plunder tombs to complete certain objectives and earn rewards if you're successful. So, unlike normal mini games, this one kind of isn't classed as one, and it isn't a D&D, it's just an activity. It's supposed to supplement normal skilling to allow you to get better XP rates, but there is that high risk that if you don't complete the activity, then you don't get the experience, so therefore it'd be worse overall. Now,
It's a good mechanic.
Right,
Yeah.
higher skill cap.
Yep. And then going into it, though, you can either do it solo or you can do it with a team, up to 5 total people. Now, obviously, with a team, there's a concern with boosting and other griefing, but with that, they've implemented group objectives to kind of deteriorate from either or happening, but both will exist to some extent. However, if you go in solo, everything's on you, obviously, and it's more difficult though. So
Yeah, I hope they provide a good incentive to do it with a group, because this could be, obviously it's not a skilling boss, but it could be the first kind of collaborative skilling content that we've really seen that provides a great XP rate.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
definitely.
Right, because he was saying in the stream that like you could do 12 an hour, maybe 14 if you're good. I think those numbers are going to go even higher with a
yeah.
competent team.
People are going to get
Oh,
like,
really
yeah,
good at it.
for sure.
Could this be
For sure.
skilling rates?
possibly.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, not to mention the fact that they said that you're getting capability to tune to nothing and get gold. So maybe you're doing like 20 runs an hour. You're really good at it, right? With a group of 5. How much gold are you making?
Right, and you're also getting reputation within Menaphos, and let's not forget an obvious comparison. The most collaborative skilling objective currently in RuneScape is dungeoneering, so it is kind of similar to dungeoneering in that you have a team working towards a shared goal. And I'm not sure if you guys remember the heyday of DG, but it was pretty enjoyable.
The
And
best days of GG.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable, but it's been diminished by obviously lack of activity, but also the daily challenges and sinkholes. So
Right.
this could be a
So-
return to collaborative skilling for RS.
Exactly. They may be looking at the history of the game and seeing where perhaps the community was the most invested. And if it's like DG, but it gives competitive XP rates and things like construction, I could see it being extremely popular.
If it's like DG after Batch 2 when they released floors up to 60, then I think it'll be a smash hit. No question.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
All right. So
So-
Who doesn't
speaking,
love playing with their mates?
oh yeah. So speaking of the skills that are involved with this update, would be there's going to be 2 categories. There's going to be the primary skills, and then there's going to be the secondary skills. So the primary skills consist of construction, thieving, agility, dungeoneering, and the secondary skills involve crafting, rune crafting, prayer, and divination. And in order to participate in the event, you're going to need level 50 in all of these. So what do you guys think about these skills being these with this update, essentially?
Well, what's it mean, major and minor skills? What's
Oh.
the difference?
So primary skills are the things that you get the most XP out of, but you only get that XP if you can complete the shifting tombs within that 5 minutes, essentially. Like, you get out, and it scales based on how much you complete within it. The secondary skills, however, you get while within it. So there's going to be various urns and jars that you can click on to break, and you'll get like a little burst of XP as you go through the entire tomb, essentially.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like sort of pyramid plunder, right? Did you see that link?
Oh yeah,
I think that's intentional, to be honest.
Yeah.
The whole 5 minute thing, it is because of Amasket's corruption that you can't stay in there for longer. But that seems like a running theme for the city. Everything under the city is corrupted, especially with the Slayer dungeon.
Right, which you require something called Ma'at, MA''AT feathers, to use in this newly announced Sophanem Slayer dungeon, which may or may not be a reward from Shifting Tombs. Rubik, I know you were talking a little bit about that earlier.
Yeah, so these Mott feathers are, however you pronounce them, you can get them from opening at least chest, or at least that's what we saw during the stream. And I'll touch on as to what these feathers do later when I talk about the Slayer dungeon. But for now, it's one of the potential things you can get within it, other than experience and gold. Oh, I also want to touch on that. In the case that you decide to not choose these skills, because you can select these skills as to what XP you want and what skills, essentially. If you want to choose, let's say, no XP, you can get gold in a replacement instead of these, instead of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to talk about the objectives. So there are 3 objectives that you want to focus on within it. So obviously I talked about the urns and jars, which you can, that's one of them, where each player has their own instance kind of version of them, and you can click on them from a distance and break them, and you have to destroy about a certain amount, a random amount that you're given at the beginning of the dungeon. Other than that, there are, so I'm going to try to pronounce this without butchering it, sarcophagus, where there's going to be a puzzle. And if you complete the puzzle correctly, you can open up the sarcophagus. And you need to complete and open these so many per tomb. And the other thing is treasure chests, which those have usually a certain requirement to open them, like 95 fire making. And if you have that requirement, you can open them and then you loot them. If you complete all these and you can leave the dungeon, you'll get the most experience. So what do you guys think about these?
I'm excited.
Despite
Alternative methods of training.
Yeah, I think it's the skills that it concentrates on that makes me excited for the populace. I don't think I'm going to be getting much XP from this content. However, I think it will definitely be cool for the reputation that was alluded to by Jagex, stating that you'll be working for citywide rewards by skilling, and that Shifting Tombs will be the best way to do that. So I'm definitely looking forward to participating in the content and seeing what exactly I'm contributing towards and what rewards that may offer.
Do you guys think this, because these will be the only 3 objectives, at least that's what we know of. Do you think it will get stale after a while? Because it's just going to be the same thing in a repeated number in a generated world?
Well, I mean, they had mentioned that they're using the same sort of systems that they've been using a lot lately, which with shattered worlds and dungeoneering and all of the all of those changes. But I don't know. I think it'll be fine. People don't really enjoy Pyramid Plunder, but they do it because the XP rate. They don't do it anymore, but back in the day,
don't enjoy Pyramid Plunder. Pyramid Plunder is awesome.
Right. I think that people will tolerate it, and if it's random, it should be fine. there's always going to be people who get bored and don't enjoy it anymore. So
Right. The more dynamic it is, the better. Like Pyramid Plunder doesn't change very much because you don't open the sarcophagus if you're focused on thieving XP. You basically just run around, loot things in the same order, try to step on the same exact squares. It's as far from dynamic really as it gets, besides which door, opens as you run through it. If the tasks within Shifting Tombs are such that the 5 people at most have to work together and change their strategy depending on those events, it could be pretty sweet.
Oh, anything with a bit of teamwork will make it much more fun, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so other than that, I want to kind of just touch on the XP rates a bit. So from what they've said, between levels 50 to 55, 70 to 75, and 90 to 95, the XP rates, assuming like you're doing it efficiently, will be the best there is in the game. However,
The best?
Yes, the best. Like at those,
I'll rub my hands together, boys.
yeah, but it's at those levels, and
At those levels. Never mind that.
yeah. But outside of those little level ranges, the XP rates are kind of comparable, at least to some degree, to other rates in the game. But it depends on the skill. For example, some skills like let's see, crafting, for example, can be trained with money typically. However, in this instance, you can train it for free, and therefore the XP rates might not be as generous.
Bit of coin saving.
Yes.
You'd love that.
Yeah. So they're balancing kind of it around that. Anyway, so touching back onto the Feathers of Ma, or however you say it.
However, Osborne said it incorrectly, according to the Reddit comments. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue how to say it. But these feathers will be used to, when you go into the Slayer dungeon, which is located in Sophonim, you'll be able to, based on the number of feathers you have, you'll be able to last longer within that dungeon. Now, this dungeon is going to be, 1 second. All right, so this dungeon is focused kind of around Sophonim. It's taking the Slayer level that was originally at 99 and bringing it to 120 and introducing new content. So first off, there's going to be random creatures throughout the entire dungeon ranging from level 101 to 135, and killing them will allow you to get loot. However, unlike normal Slayer dungeons and creatures and whatnot, that loot's not going to be dropped to the ground. Instead, it's going to go to a chest, which will be found at the entrance of the dungeon. All the loot from all the creatures you kill in the dungeon will go to that chest, and you can kind of pick and choose exactly what you want, which I think this is actually massive. Like, I love this part of the dungeon.
It's pretty great considering you won't have to worry about inventory management and constantly picking up drops and dropping your supplies to pick up valuable drops.
I honestly think that's one of the worst parts about Slayer. And I think they've realized that. They're like,
picking up
a cannon and juggling my items and juggling food, and that's not fun.
Yeah,
it is. It's part of the game.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't
What are
really
you talking
agree
about?
with that.
That's part of the best parts.
The
I don't mind the cannon too much, but
most games
when
have
I
some kind of inventory constraint, and like you have Spring Cleaner now, you have like Alex in your inventory. You've got so many drop cleaners. The Charm Collector, the Herbicide, Seedicide, like, it's nothing compared to when Gunnar did Slayer, for instance.
AoE loot.
Yeah, the ability to losslessly AoE loot is pretty good.
That too.
Yeah. So it does simplify it though. Like, you're going to be much more focused on the combat aspect of it, and the drops will always be there for you. It doesn't matter if you leave the dungeon and then go back; they'll still be in the chest.
It'll feel kind of like Shattered Worlds, which is very like you focus on the combat in Shattered Worlds.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why. Maybe
does
it's
this
much
chest
more about
multiply the longer you have loot in there?
They didn't allude to that at all. Just that the loot you were to get from the monsters would be collected in the chest.
Yeah, I think the further you go into the dungeon, the better the loot drops will be. But
Right, and the tougher the monsters.
Yeah.
Well, it could actually be because you actually have to keep moving. So you don't want to stop and sit still. Maybe there's something chasing you, or maybe that's a slay mechanic.
Well, you
Well-
only have limited time because
Yeah, that
your
too.
time is based on the feathers. So you want to get to the highest monster you can kill effectively as quickly as possible. So, get your bladed dives so you can surge, bladed dive as quick as possible to whatever the new abyssal demons are. So
Now, also within the Slayer dungeon is a Slayer boss. Now, we don't know much about it. Osborne won't tell us anything, but he says it's going to be repeatable, kind of like the Ascension bosses.
I would
And
assume
that-
it's something like Skatizo from old school.
maybe, but Skotitso needs the totems. So I don't know if it was alluded to at all, but Osborne was very brief, but he didn't let us know of any requirements to kill that boss, just that it was repeatable. So we'll see. I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be like that where you need an item to fight it each time, but it very well could be. It is a successful structure, so we'll see.
Yep. Other than that, Slayer is being raised to 120, and that's pretty much all
Oh,
we
really?
know of right now.
When did they announce that?
Who knows? Maybe a year ago. And
Yeah.
you get an extra 3 months to get your comp cape back. Oh, side note, high scores will not be affected in any way.
Oh, they said that? Okay. Interesting.
Oh, dang. We were all ready to log in right when the update happened to get rank 1.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because the confusion that came out, just logging in, logging out, and you'd get rank 1.
Okay, so that's good that we've gone through the Slayer dungeon. It's definitely something that has been built up for the last several months. Do you guys feel that the cycle that they're using to promote and subsequently release Menaphos is conducive towards the game's success? Or do you guys feel like there's so much hype behind this one bit of content, this expansion, that players are going to feel, empty after they complete that content? Obviously, we voted for expansions, but do you like the cycle?
I don't think they'll have trouble building hype back up for new stuff after, and they've said they've planned expansions for later in the year. But it does feel like right now all the eggs are really in the one basket, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a little riskier for sure.
If Menaphos is a flop, which I don't think it will be, then where does Jagex go from there?
Well, it's hard to say. It's a lot of sort of stuff. I think from a player perspective, it's quite good. I think that they've hyped it up. Actually, trying to talk about it in this situation makes it much more difficult, like slowly leaking information over time. But I think it makes it a little bit of exciting sort of stuff coming in, I reckon.
Yeah. So you enjoy them building the hype through all these channels?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent.
I also like that they went to Morocco to film some of these BTS videos. I think that's pretty cool.
I do like the on-site videos. It definitely gives you more of that sense of wonder. And when Osborne was kind of walking in to the dungeon, quote unquote, it looked kind of like the in-game design. And obviously they did that intentionally. But it helps add not only professionalism and like production value to these videos, but it gives you more of a feel of exploration, because the JMods are out there exploring. So so it seems they've got obviously they're tailored for exploration with their work clothes, but hiking boots and stuff. So definitely gets me hyped a little bit.
Guys, I want to interject with a brand new update that we have from Reddit on the next gen leak, which is Jagex has informed us. Actually, Shane, could you just read it for us?
What's this? Oh, I see. Yeah. tell you the truth, the logo you saw in Project is a project code name for an otherwise undisclosed project. We were showing it off for an internal live stream. That's all we're willing to reveal at this time, but stay tuned for more. In summary, this was an accident. And so obviously, this isn't something Shauny will get fired for. That's good, eh? He's safe.
Yes,
Yep.
since Shauny is a big fan of the podcast, he is
Shauny is no longer Gawny.
would like to
Oh my
reassure
God.
him of his job security.
You waited so long to say that.
Yeah. Is that the only reason you participated in this podcast?
Well, it's good news. It's just a little side project. That's good, eh? Anyway, boys.
It's
Well,
about
you-
that time, Shane.
Yeah,
What did you
Shane.
say?
As G Unit says, I want to get to know you. Get to know the boys section. So today we have a question here from a player called Holly7, and she wants to know,
Oh boy.
boys, what is your favourite takeaway food? Alex, go on, mate.
I was first.
You're
time.
always first.
It's
Okay, I'll
alphabetical.
go first. Chinese.
Chinese.
It's like
Specific item though. Specific item.
Whoa.
Chow mein.
Okay. Alex.
Does fast food count?
No, mate. It's a specific item, you Gumby.
Take. Yeah.
Take
Really
yeah,
good,
take it.
but-
You don't have any.
No, I was just gonna say the Crunch Wrap Supreme from Taco Bell.
Hey.
Perfect. Perfect.
I
mate.
like it.
We don't have Taco Bell here actually, so there's a little get to know a little bonus fact. We don't have Taco. What's it called? Taco Bell?
And
I've
Is that right?
forgotten
Is it
already.
Taco Bell? Is it Taco Bell?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have that. We got this thing right. It's called Taco Bill in Australia. We got Taco Bill.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, Taco Bill, but it's like an upscale sort of. It's like almost a restaurant. And they just sort of do like proper Mexican food, I believe.
I don't
I
even.
also
I don't
make
even
sure
believe
to
you.
ask for notifications.
There's no Taco Bell, just Taco Bill. Andrew, what's the best item?
Okay, so what do you mean when you say takeaway? Like it has to be literally takeout. You walk into the restaurant and walk out with it,
No, you can just.
but not fast food.
Is that not what you guys call fast food? Takeaway food.
No.
No,
No.
we
It's,
call it fast
it's
food.
either take out or delivery or,
Or
fast
eat it.
food.
Yeah, that's
See,
why I was really confused.
Takeout is kind of like
What's-
you walk in and you get like a pizza and you walk out with it or
You
whatever.
you pick
Alright.
it.
Or
They have it
Chinese.
on the counter.
Chinese is
ready for
definitely
you.
the classic takeout food.
What's
Yeah.
what's your best fast food item?
No, but I will
What's your
actually give
favourite?
you one that I had earlier today that I very much enjoy. Is that
Gone.
you won't have this, I guarantee. But Popeyes spicy
What's that?
Louisiana chicken is
Oh,
very delicious. If you haven't had
Like
it, I
KFC?
recommend it. Like KFC, but with spices. It's Cajun.
oh righto.
You know, like New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's unfamiliar with anything that isn't Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we've deduced that that's the only part of the U.S. that he knows. So.
Ruby,
Penn State.
Yes.
what's your favourite fast food item, mate?
I don't know.
Give me
Let's see.
fucking something, mate.
Well, that was eliminated.
You just gotta think of something.
I like actually. So, I'm not a sellout by any means, but Wendy's has the best taco salad I've ever had for like a fast food chain.
Okay, salad.
Taco
Maybe.
salad from Wendy's.
Yeah, taco
Interesting.
salad. Yeah, Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Interesting.
So what they do is they
Our
yeah.
Wendy's isn't.
so they have like a normal
Go on.
salad, but they use their chili and you use that chili for like the meat, and then they give you like sour cream and salsa and chips and whatnot, and you just mix it all together and have
Yeah.
a taco salad. It's
If-
delicious.
If there were an odds-on betting pool for this getting to know the boys, the odds for Wendy's taco salad would be astronomical.
Well, yeah, in Australia, Wendy's just does ice cream here, so I wouldn't have got that at all.
Is it the
Yeah.
same Wendy's or no?
Yeah, just
This-
that's
This,
ice
se-
cream.
this segment is just basically on Shane's lack of familiarity with American.
Well, or
Yeah.
the opposite.
It is
You
sad.
didn't even know what I meant by take eye.
Depends on your perspective, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gunner, what do you love, mate?
Well, see,
I can
The
answer this
Crunchwrap-
for him, but
the Crunchwrap Supreme was already taken, so that is a great travesty against my decision making. However, if I had to pick an individual item, I would probably go with beef and broccoli from my local Chinese place. What did you think I was
Delicious.
gonna go with?
I thought
Anders?
you were gonna go for Subway for sure, based on my
Th-
limited sample size.
Oh yeah, the Southwest onion chicken teriyaki.
Yes.
That's pretty good. It's not good for the body, but it's good for the soul. It's not good for your intestines for 12 to 24 hours, but it is delicious. So one thing I will say is that for takeaway, as Shane calls it, we do have quite limited options.
Really?
I would say most of our stuff is not takeaway. Takeaway for us is more like casual restaurants when you call ahead and you pick it up.
Well, yeah.
So
fast
like by
casual.
that
Well,
logic,
there's no need to be
yeah.
fancy.
So by that logic, I would say it's
Chipotle is
nachos.
like that.
It would be like if I called Qdoba and was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick this up in 10 minutes, or if I called my local pub and was like, I
Yeah.
want nachos to go. Actually,
No, but he
that's
already
what I'll
told
go
us
with.
it just
Pub
means
nachos.
fast food there. It's just like any
Yeah.
fast food. It doesn't mean take.
Yeah, but they call McDonald's something crazy. Their Burger King is like another
Hungry Jacks.
patriot. Yeah, see, it's nonsense. Australia,
Oh.
it's bizarro.
Oh, there's enough ragging on Australia. Let's get back to the topic.
So,
my favourite?
Shane,
It's
Shane, what's
Macca's.
your favorite?
What's my favorite?
Shane,
Macca's
what's your
is
favourite?
alright. I love a supercharged zinger box from KFC. You get a nice little zinger burger, some chips, a few little zinger wings, Pepsi Max, and a little coleslaw or potato and gravy.
Can
You know,
Does-
depending
Can
on
you
how
get it
it's
with a
sealed.
Does your
different
Pepsi
drink
Max
besides a
save the
Pepsi
world?
Max?
Does the Pepsi
no,
Max
that's
save
it.
the world?
no, that's it.
It does, yeah. I mean, Jenna, what an icon. But it's good stuff. You guys got zinger burgers there?
What the hell is a zinger?
What?
Oh.
Yeah, no.
A zinger burger.
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't.
Repeating it doesn't explain it.
The last KFC.
Burger. Zinger burger.
It's a burger from Big Bang.
The last time
No,
I
is
went to a KFC was in Madrid in like 2010, so I can't really say if they have something called a zinger burger, but I don't think
I
they
have been to a KFC more recently. 0 zinger burgers.
do. Oh, good to know.
Zinger, do they do chips?
Does that mean French
What
fries?
do you? Does chips mean
Zinger burger with
fries?
chips.
Does it mean fries or does it mean potato chips?
Chips.
We're,
All right,
we're
we're gonna
going
need
through some
pictures.
cultural. There's some cultural barriers here.
Zinger burger with chips, oh.
Oh my god!
Well, don't you understand it?
Does zinger mean alpaca? Because
Zinger must mean fucking chicken. Speak goddamn English.
Zinger burger.
Okay.
Oh,
It's like a
Okay.
yeah, that's a
Okay.
better picture. That's a better
It's
picture.
kangaroo.
Okay.
Put it up on
It's
screen for
no,
the
no.
boys at home.
It's only New Zealand and Australia.
it's
the zinger
Dude,
burger.
it's clearly
It's
alpaca.
a spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's all. It's only
It's not a
a spicy
sandwich.
chicken.
It's a burger.
It's just oh my god.
It's a sandwich.
But
Burgers. all
sandwiches, bread.
Burgers
Sandwiches
are
is bread.
sandwiches.
No,
Burgers are
no,
Burgers are sandwiches.
no.
Not
they're a
all,
burger.
not all sandwiches are burgers,
What do you-
but all
what are you
burgers are
talking about?
sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
SAT question.
Sandwiches, I can pull out a bit of
It's
bread
set
from
theory.
a loaf of bread,
Yeah.
and that's what a sandwich is, a loaf of bread. But
Oh my.
I mean, that's a burger. They're burger buns, aren't they? Are they burger buns?
Yeah, burgers are a
Are they-
subset.
Dude,
of
No,
sandwiches.
they're not. No, they're not.
If you ever leave Australia, you will just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. That's all right, though.
I don't
You
know.
don't have to.
Australians have really been giving me a lot of pause lately, especially with the Defy Juice's sheep incident the other day. Like, I'm starting to really wonder what goes on down there.
That could be taken out of context. I don't know if we want to spread rumors about Defy Juice.
Oh, they've been spread.
Good. I think that's it. Hey boys, it's just a nice little. Any questions about the burger itself, or?
No, I think
sandwich. I think we're good.
I think we have to take a trip to try this Zinger burger with.
Make sure
fries.
you get supercharged.
With
Supercharged.
What is the supercharge?
Well,
It makes it a bit spicier.
For watching the 9th episode of the Efficiency Experts
thanks for
Podcast.
watching.
If you stuck with us for this
long,
you are dedicated.
I hope to see you next week. So yeah.
Please check the description. There's going to be some links in there with material we've discussed, and we'll be talking to you next week about the achievement system batch 2. So thanks guys for listening, and happy scaping. See ya.
Thank fuck that's over, eh? God, that's fucking forever. I can smell dinner cooking as well. I'm starving.